taking a closer look at what the next year could hold for the crypto industry. And joining us now to discuss is Global Blockchain Business Council CEO Sandra Rowe. Sandra, great to have you on the show. You are a veteran of the World Economic Forum. From what I understand, you were the first crypto presence here about 6 years back.
So maybe the first, definitely one of the earliest pioneers 6 years ago. A group of entrepreneurs showed up and said, hey, I think we should come to Davos, and we did.
How does this year compare? What's the evolution, to this point in terms of the reception for crypto?
Has grown. Crypto has taken over, lounge after lounge. We've grown, larger space, more people. And, there have been ups and downs. There have been several crypto winters, but every time we come back bigger and stronger.
All right. So you have a different view from our CoinDesk panel because they thought that it was a bit muted, but you're actually saying that there's a lot of positive sentiment out there.
So first of all, the one that occurred in May 2022 was an off year because it was the first one after the pandemic. And definitely there were a lot of crypto firms. I think this time around the numbers are greater, but there are a diverse group of stakeholders that are here. It are blockchain players, metaverse, Web3 focused players, as well as the pure crypto crowd.
Mm-hmm. So taking a look at 2023, what are some of the trends you're seeing this year? I mean, we're just coming off of 2022, which was a pretty terrible year for a lot of crypto lenders, crypto hedge funds, crypto exchanges, looking at FTX particularly. So what do you foresee in 2023?
So firstly, for those who've been victims of what has happened at the end of 2022, we empathize greatly. However, that is a subsegment of the overall landscape of blockchain and digital tokenization of everything. And so we see a world where people continue to build. There's investments happening across the spectrum. And whether you're enterprise or a startup, there are definitely growth and investments being made.
Well, we just spoke with Accenture, and they're all over the metaverse. It sounded like, though, they were into more closed blockchains. Is there an appetite for more decentralization, public blockchains building on the infrastructure that's been built so far?
So I think what we will see over time, just what we've seen in the last decade, is that there will be groups that will focus on working within private chains for a while, and they may evolve into public chains. And there are lots of different reasons for why people do one or the other. I think ultimately moving towards public chains is the way a lot more enterprises are actually going. It just might take a while.
Okay. And based on your conversations with members of the blockchain hub, how are they navigating crypto winter?
So there are several different buckets. Let's face it, everyone's gotten a black eye from what's happened, but I don't think it's a fatal blow. It is about the fact that some are obviously more directly affected than others. And so for the ones who are not affected, they're just going. They keep going and building, and it's not really actually an issue from a direct standpoint. Obviously, the halo effect has diminished from the hype of cycle of last year. But what I think is going to be most important is that the rebuilding happens to those who've been affected, particularly with integrity. And I think this industry needs to actually step up and call out bad actors in a much more vocal way.
So we're reportedly hearing that Three Arrows Capital, they're trying to raise $25 million, forgive and forget or what?
I just saw the headlines. I don't know. I think I've read enough or know enough to opine too much other than it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. Certainly raises eyebrows.
You're also talking to folks in Ukraine. I mean, one of the themes this year is cooperation in a fragmented world. I'm seeing a lot of Ukraine, not much of a Russian presence here. But what are you doing in terms of work with Ukraine?
Yes. So, behind the scenes, we have been supporting some of the very early Ukraine DAO, Ukraine crypto wallet initiatives that happened last year when the war broke. We continue to support, obviously, those initiatives, particularly from local Ukrainians who are actually building out funds and different crypto-related services. And I think these are really important, especially in a time where infrastructure is patchy for them. Getting access to anything is really hard, that we rally around groups that are trying to get either funds onto the ground or food or access to various services. And I think we need to really show the world that that's where good crypto happens.
And is that, I guess, feeding into the regulators and the policymakers here? Do they see that, or is the sentiment soured from everything else that's happened?
Like I said, it's definitely been a black eye for everyone who's been in the industry. It's a step back in terms of what's happened. However, I think there are enough regulators and legislators that are out there that do understand that it is not just about what's happened with last year. It's about actually an industry that's a much bigger picture, and most of the actors are actually good stakeholders, good participants, good builders.